Hey everyone, here we are recording at Frosted Nug Productions. This is our general trigger warning. This podcast discusses death, child loss, suicide, mental health, and grief. We are not trauma professionals or therapists. We offer no professional advice. We are just two friends with a lot of life experiences who want to help others. Welcome to Because of Eli.
Hi, Erica.
Hey, Amy.
And we have two guests here today, Victoria and Mike.
Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to our fabulous studio.
Yes,
Beautiful.
yes.
I love it.
And I'm so happy that they're here today. They're going to talk about donation, which is a huge topic for me. So I love that they're here to share their story with us.
And just on time, as we are currently recruiting for our Donor Dash team.
And so's Victoria.
Yeah, excellent.
Yes.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Amy, I feel like we haven't been in studio in a minute.
Yeah,
And we're stacking now. So everyone's going to see a lot of episodes coming out
Yes.
really quickly.
absolutely.
So I'm excited to be back, and I'm excited to start
too.
sharing about what we've done for ourselves.
Yes.
Because
Last time we didn't have anything.
we didn't have any.
Yes, but this time I do.
Awesome. So, Amy, what have you done for yourself this week?
So Thursday, I went for a run, which is the first time since
that.
April of last year. So I felt good enough to move my body, which I haven't done
Yeah.
in almost a year. So that was really nice. And I think the Donor Dash coming up kind of prompted that.
And the weather getting
Yeah.
better finally.
Yes.
It was
Finally.
like
Yeah.
snow on snow on snow
Yeah.
and then rain.
Yeah.
Like,
And
it's
today
never
I
gonna
didn't
dry.
even know how to dress.
I know. But the sunshine's
I went
nice.
outside. I'm like, it's warm.
Yeah.
Everyone come outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a big deal today.
So how about you? What you do this week?
Well, let's see. There's so many things to choose from because we really
That's good.
took some time for ourselves this week, particularly with Loretta, because there's just been so many things that we're trying to get done. She's a senior in high school. So next year we started planning something for next year, and someone said, well, Loretta's not even going to be here, so you don't have to count her. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So we've been doing a lot and thinking a lot about what we can do before she leaves. But this week, we celebrated Purim, which is the Jewish holiday that celebrates the freedom of the Jews from slavery, basically, but it's a more magical holiday, and so it's like the kids dress up in costumes, and they make bags for each other, like as if it was kind of similar to Halloween a little bit. So they make candy bags and fruit bags and stuff for each other. So Loretta got to miss school to come help volunteer at my school to help with Purim.
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
we dressed up,
That's really
the
neat.
whole staff dressed up, and we were Alice in Wonderland characters.
Oh, that's fun.
So Loretta and I were Mad Hatter and March Hare, and her and I were in the same room doing activities together, and the kids just love her, and it's so much fun to see. And next year, if she's far away, she won't get to do this stuff. So she's really holding on to it.
Yeah.
Yep, for
Oh,
sure.
it's nice that she was able to do that.
Yeah, it's nice that I let her skip school to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So nice of Mom.
Yes.
Awesome.
So Victoria, what'd you do for yourself?
Well, speaking of the nicer weather, I love to go on hikes, and it's just been so cold. So this past week, I was able to go out to the Oldman's Creek Nature
very
Preserve
nice.
and go on a solo, 45-minute
That's
walk.
nice.
It was
It
so
is nice
beautiful.
out there too.
Yeah, there
I
was
do
still
like
a lot of
going there.
snow, down the hill, but it was so beautiful and peaceful. It was
Yeah.
good.
Last week we went to Brandywine and hiked, and there was still a lot of snow there. Yeah.
No, I was surprised, but
Yeah.
it was so peaceful. I loved it.
Yeah. So your turn, Mike. What do you have for us?
Let's see. So I rarely get to do a lot for myself. But my wife and I, we tried to make it a point to go out to dinner at least once a week.
That's
so
very
we went out to dinner
nice.
last night,
Awesome.
and it was awesome.
Very
The,
nice. Where'd you
yeah.
go?
The Yardley Inn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
it was,
nice.
Heard of it. I've
First
never
time we
been
were there, and probably actually before I was transplanted.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And so we got to go back there, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
It's always nice to get out and just the two of us. And,
Yeah,
spend time together. So
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Great.
amazing.
Yeah.
good good times.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I appreciate both of you being here to share your story. It's an amazing story, particularly because you two did not know each other before this. So I think that I don't know. I can't wait to hear how it all came together. So I think we're going to start with Mike, and you can share.
I guess it kind of started with me.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease, and it was kind of my own fault. I wasn't one to go to a doctor. I put work above everything for pretty much my whole life. So I just constantly worked, and I started feeling pretty bad, actually. It wasn't until I developed a real bad pain in my foot, and which I had operated on years ago, and I kind of blew it off as related to that. So I went to my orthopedic doctor, and he checked it out, and he said, it could be a little bit of tendonitis down in there. It was right around my incision area. But he said to me, if you get, any kind of cramping in the back of your leg or anything, he said, you need to go get an ultrasound done. And he said, I'm concerned of a DVT. So I said, okay. Started walking about 3 days later, putting pressure on it, and back of my leg around my calf got tight. So I called him up and told him about it. He said, you need to get in for an ultrasound. Well, I didn't realize how serious it is.
Yeah.
So I actually scheduled it. I called him up and I said, hey, guess what? They got me in for next week. He goes, oh, no, you need to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
He said, you need it now.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I went to the emergency room, and when you go into the emergency room, I had a script with me. You got to go through triage. So I went through triage, and they took my blood pressure, and the nurse said to me, you have an issue with your blood pressure. And I said, no. And next thing I know, there's a doctor in, and he takes it, and he said, you never had an issue before with your blood pressure? I said, no, not that I'm aware of. He said, I can't believe you walked in here. I said, what do you mean? My blood pressure was 212 over 112.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
So he said, I can't believe you didn't stroke out.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I'm on a gurney. I got IVs in me. Everybody's taking blood from me, and they wheel me into a room in the ER, and I'm sitting there waiting for an ultrasound.
Right.
That's what's going through my mind. And doctor comes in, and he says, you have kidney disease? I said, what? He said, you have kidney disease. I said, what are you talking about? He said, and really bad. He said, you're stage 4.
Wow.
And I said, what? I said, I came in for an ultrasound. He goes, well, we want to admit you. I said, no way. I left. I signed myself out and left. And I said, I'll follow up with my own doctor. And I did. And I called him. And he called me back. His answer service got a hold of him. He called me back. And he said, you should have stayed. And I said, well, in hindsight, yeah, you're probably right. And it was 4th of July weekend. So I sat there and I thought to myself, it was like right around the COVID time. And I'm like, no one's going to see me. You're going to regulate my blood pressure, and that's it, until after the holiday. So I'm like, well, I can do that at home. My next door neighbor's a nurse. She came over, monitored my blood pressure.
She's around.
Surprise, surprise.
That's what I
All
did.
my neighbors are nurses.
And she came over pretty much every day, and she monitored my blood pressure for me, and
Wow.
kind of kept me going. And I went in to see him, and he said, we need to set you up with some other doctors.
Yeah.
And he gave me a list of doctors, a nephrologist who never experienced that before, a urologist, which I didn't see for a long time, and a cardiologist. Well, I didn't realize all this, kidney disease affects your heart, pretty much affects everything, your whole entire body. So I followed up with all the doctors and everything, and I went and I saw the nephrologist and followed her for a while, and they got me on a pretty good regimen as far as medication and stuff. And he told me, he said, for now, he said, you can't be working. He said, you need to kind of take care of yourself right now. So I went out on disability and stopped working, and things started kind of improving a little bit. My meds started working. They controlled my blood pressure, which turned out everybody thought I had hypertension. I had secondary hypertension. It was the kidney that was actually causing my blood pressure issue.
Wow.
The kidney was functioning so bad that it wasn't removing sodium from my body, and it was causing my blood pressure to kind of like bounce all over the place. So then they got that all straightened out and kind of leveled me out a little bit, and I was kind of going pretty good, seeing the nephrologist on a regular basis, and my cardiologist, he said, your heart's fine. He said, but we'll keep monitoring because it affects so many things in your body, your potassium and all that, your potassium ends up spiking, can send you into cardiac arrest. So that was something that I had to follow up on all the time. So my kidney started to kind of rebound a little bit, and my function kind of came up a little. And that was great for a while. But going to the nephrologist, she said to me, this is kind of what's going to happen. She said, you're going to get a level of degradation. It's going to degrade a little bit, pretty much every year. And she said that you can expect to lose about 5% function a year. So my function wasn't great to begin with. So we kind of went, and then the one visit, it was kind of starting to drop again. And she said, I think it's time you have a conversation with a transplant team. Like, who? Like, I never went through this,
Were you on dialysis?
I was not,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
They had me, the medication regimen I was on, and the complete change in lifestyle, I actually managed to keep myself off of dialysis.
That's amazing.
So,
great.
which really, really helped because it improves your, lowers your risks post-transplant and it improves the viability of the kidney and the duration of the kidney. Once you're on dialysis, it kind of complicates things a little bit.
Yeah.
So I managed to keep myself off.
That's amazing.
And we were cruising along, and I went down and met with a transplant team, and they put me on the list, activated me for transplant. So they started searching, and then again my kidneys started to rebound a little bit. Okay. So then they moved me to inactive, but leaving me listed as inactive, I don't drop down to the bottom. It's not like pulling me off and then put me back on. So where I was, because at that time it was estimated for my blood type, they were estimating probably about 7 years before I actually get a kidney.
Wow.
People don't realize how many people have kidney disease.
Yeah.
It's a large number. So you got to remember you're in that list, and when they list you, that's where you start. So there's a lot of people ahead of me. So everything kind of went along, and then all of a sudden I got another drop, and I started putting feelers out. So my wife put it on Facebook as far as people possibly wanting to donate for me. Put it out there to my family. Yeah. So I had a very large response of applications for donation.
That's amazing.
Wow.
As they started going through them, matter of fact, the response was so heavy, they actually contacted us and asked what we did to get such a heavy response.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, I put it on Facebook.
Of course,
And it panned out because the responses started coming in, but then as they started ruling people out, whether it was blood type or whatever,
right.
They started chipping them off the list, and my brother was one, and then stuff happened on his side of the family, so they kind of decided that he would be a last resort.
Okay.
So we kind of went through the whole process, and I went down for my one checkup, and it was actually my nurse practitioner. Changed everything, I guess you could say. We went down, my wife went with me. She was my second set of ears. And we went down and met with the surgeon, and she was there. And we're sitting in the room, and she looks at my wife and goes, "Why don't you donate?" She goes, "Well, I'm not a blood match, She said, I there's no match at all. I'm completely different blood type.
Yeah.
And she goes, "That doesn't matter." She goes, "You're in really good shape. You're probably be a good, viable donor." We're like, "What do you mean it doesn't matter?"
Yeah.
That's when we found out about the advanced donation, which is an incredible thing. Like, you don't realize, because one donor can help two people. So one kidney can actually help two people, which is kind of what happened. Okay. So my wife decided to donate. Her kidney went out to California, and I got a voucher for a living donor. I didn't even
That's the
know.
voucher program.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed.
Yep, voucher
Did you
program.
know
No,
that?
no.
I
I
didn't
didn't
know
either.
that.
And it
very
was kind of
cool.
crazy because after everything happened, I started hearing it on the radio
Yeah.
and advertisements.
Wow.
From different, I think Jefferson had one out there. I think Penn had one out there.
Wow.
So it
I
was,
have goosebumps. That's amazing.
you know, that's how we found out about it. It was actually the nurse practitioner down at Penn.
Yeah.
And if she didn't say anything,
Yeah.
that'd probably still be on the list.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
quite
Right.
honest with you.
Yeah.
So that kind of got everything rolling, and you know, she's like, okay, and so I was her primary caretaker while she donated. She was mine. She went and donated in July, and her, you know, kidney, they flew that out. I remember, I'll never forget it. It was
That's so cool.
Yeah.
it was kind of crazy because it turned out that the one that did the removal of her kidney was actually the one that implanted mine.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, same surgeon. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
and then they came out. They estimated the surgery to be, I think they said like 4 to 8 hours. It could be for the removal,
Yeah.
and he was out in 2.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, that's
And
right.
he says she was so ready to donate, her kidney just about jumped out. And I said, "What?" I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is crazy.
Oh.
And he said it's already packed in a cooler on its way to the airport.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and I'm like, holy Moses, man, this is
Yeah.
insane, you know? It was a quick turnaround. So once she got healed, we went down and they started my search. And I waited a while, actually. They were very specific for what they were looking for. The parameters were set very tight. They wanted a very specific kidney. They wanted a specific age group. Size was really the big thing. Because the intent was if they can find the kidney that they were looking for, that I would probably only need one because they do have a shelf life, you know, so you have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And I waited. Next thing I know, I got a phone call. I think it was January, actually.
Wow, that's long.
Yeah, I
That's
waited
a long
for
wait.
quite a while.
Yeah.
Was your wife getting like anxious? Like, okay, I gave
We
a
got it
kidney
all
and you're
were.
not getting
Yeah.
one. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I
Yeah,
went through all
I
this
mean,
and this might not
we
happen.
both were. This was kind of
Yeah.
getting a little crazy, you know.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I thought this would be a little quicker process, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's kind of how the system works, you know. And I wasn't in dire need at the time, you know. I still was able to manage everything and manage my symptoms and kind of keep things in check a little bit, keep myself off of dialysis.
Yeah.
And we went, you know, back and forth, waiting. And I get the phone call, and, you know, she was just about ready to change the search parameters that she was looking for because it was taking a while. And she said, and I'm so glad I didn't, because all of a sudden it popped.
Yeah.
She said, we found your donor. Holy Moses, are you kidding, right? You know, and that's when Victoria came into play. So, yep.
On the verge of tears this whole time. hearing this story. So I actually ended up getting paired with Mike through the voucher program too. So it was a random day, and I was just scrolling on social media, and I saw a little boy from the next town over, EJ.
Oh yes.
Was in
I have
need
seen
of a
you post
kidney.
about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd never met him, but a friend of mine had shared that he was in need of a kidney, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine going through that as a parent. And it kind of just, kept scrolling. But a few days later, it just kept popping into my head. So I went back and I looked at it, and I don't know what compelled me to do it, but I emailed his mom. And I was just asking some questions about, like, I didn't know anything about organ donation, especially not living donation. And she was just explaining his past medical history, and he's just had, like, a lot of hurdles over the years because of all these medical complications. And so she just sent me the link to fill out through Penn, and I just felt very compelled to do it. I can't explain it. And I was like, well, I mean, if this is meant to be, it'll be. Like, what would the odds be that I would be a match? And I was just like, God will work it out if this is what I'm supposed to do. And I didn't really tell anyone because I was like, this is just so random. and out of the
Right.
blue.
Yeah.
So I submitted everything, and I got, you have to get blood work to prove your blood type. And it was a couple of weeks in, they had sent me test tubes through Penn to go to a lab and get them drawn. And I found out I was a match.
Wow.
And I was shocked, and I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, what a cool thing. And there's so much more that goes into it. And I think Penn I'm so happy that's where I ended up for transplant services. They were amazing. And so there's like a lot of education that goes into it. There was like videos I had to watch. And again, I was very interested because I knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of medical testing as well. And around this point, I started to share with a few people what I was considering doing, and I'm not gonna lie, my immediate family thought I was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, you're so busy. At the time, my youngest was 2, and I have 3 kids, and just a hectic, busy working mom, you know. So the feedback was kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? This is now the time for this? And I'm like, you know, I'm in recovery. I lived a very unhealthy lifestyle for a long time, and it was such a blessing that I was able to get sober. Mm-hmm. And like any opportunity to serve, like I'm always praying for opportunities to serve. And I don't know, I can't explain like the peace I had the whole time going through this. I just felt so called to it, and I was like, you're gonna make me cry.
Oh,
sorry. And I was like, if it's meant to be, it will fall into place, and if it's not, it's not. Mm-hmm. But I can't tell you how smoothly everything went.
Yeah.
Like every step of the way.
I'm sure they don't want any roadblocks, because
No.
no point at which they want to make it difficult
Right.
for
Yeah.
somebody trying to do this.
And so, you know, I saw the post in June, and then going through all this through weeks, and then you set up like a full day of testing at Penn, and they're so thorough. They want to make sure that like if you donate your kidney, it's like you live the rest of your life like you didn't.
Yeah.
And you know, like CAT scan and EKG and all kinds of testing. And to be honest, I never thought that I would be healthy enough. You know, I caused a lot of damage to my body for many years, but going through everything, it was like every check part, they're like, yeah, you're great. You're super healthy. You're so good. It's this, you know.
Wow.
So then it was probably the fall that I got approval. And, you know, it goes before board, and they look at everything. And I was getting to know EJ and his mom, and it was really special. And then so towards the end of the year, and we were starting to talk about different surgery dates and the timeline. And then I remember the day, my nurse coordinator, Ashley, she was amazing. She called me and she said, hey, I know this is hard to hear, but it looks like, you know, if you want to donate directly to EJ, you're going to have to wait a little bit, just because, you know, there's just so much fluctuation, and his numbers need to be right where they need to be. So, you know, I wanted to tell you about the voucher program, and I'm not going to lie, I was really sad. I was like, this is like the first hurdle. I thought that this whole thing was to donate directly to him. I thought that that's what this calling was. And I just prayed about it. And a few days later, she said, I really want you to take a full week and think about it. And she explained the whole thing that, you know, you donate to a stranger, your kidney goes to someone, and then when he's ready, he'll use his voucher. And she was explaining to me that like EJ could end up with an even more perfect kidney, you know, because they're putting it into the system. And so I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So then my date was set shortly after. It was February 7th. It was the day after my youngest's birthday.
Oh.
And I went in, and it was awesome. It was really smooth. Like, I just felt really prepared. So, like we said, we were strangers, obviously. And there was like a hashtag used, like Penn Living Donor. And, you know, his wife was on Instagram looking.
She was a donor, so she was part of the hashtag.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was very vocal. You know, I wanted to share as much as I can on social media to raise awareness. Because, like, through this whole process, understanding how many people need kidneys.
Yes.
Right.
And how many people can be a living donor and don't realize. And don't realize, that, like, I forget all the time I donated. Like, there's been no long-term anything.
Yeah.
And how, yeah, it's an undertaking, but it's definitely doable. So, anyway, sharing everything on social media. So, that night, how did we figure out, it was the day that we were both there for pre-op testing. I somehow heard something about my recipient in the building, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're at Penn?
Yeah.
So it was like a whisper somewhere, because, you know, they really try to keep everything very separate. Like,
Yeah,
I wrote a letter that goes to the social worker that eventually was going to be given to Mike if he was open to that. Like, you know, it's all very strict guidelines on keeping things separate unless we're both open in communication. So that night, I'm like, they want you to get up and walk around, and I'm trying to walk around. I'm in so much pain, and I'm like creeping in every window, like trying to figure out, I'm like, who has my kidney here? Where is it? And
Where's my kidney?
yeah, like, creeping around, and then it was the next day that we had figured each other out and we got to meet.
Well,
Yeah.
it was kind of crazy because I was in the room waiting to go back into surgery, and the surgeon came in. Prior to that, all they could tell me was approximate age range, female, and a female with children, and an approximate age range is all they would tell me. So then I said, well, how far is it coming from? How long is it going to be on ice? Is what I asked. And
Not
they said,
long.
all they could tell me was it's not traveling from far.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Is all they could say.
Yeah.
So I'm in the room with my wife waiting to go back into surgery. Surgeon comes in and he said, I got to let you know, he said, there's a little bit of a holdup. And he said, I have to go over an added risk. You have an added risk of clot. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay, what's going on? He said, so the kidney that is being removed has 2 arteries, and we have to tie it into one because I have one. So he
And
said, so
I just have to say, when I found that out, I thought that was going to disqualify me because I guess it's like an anomaly. It's not the norm. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the end. And they're like, no, it's fine.
Like, oh, we got this.
yeah, they tie it into
Oh,
one.
no,
Claim it
we'll
off.
still
Yeah.
take that
Yeah.
kidney.
So, and he says, I got to tell you, it's an added risk of clot. And I'm like, well, what are we talking? I think he said it was like a 0.01%. I said, come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't
You
you
know,
love
are you
that?
kidding
Like,
me?
we have to
We have
sit
to talk
down
about
for a
this?
conversation about point.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, it's great. All right, and left it be. And then he walks out. My wife's like, And she got on the hashtag. And she
She's
had
so
a
smart.
photo
I posted a picture. I'm like, best picture with 2 kidneys.
with 2 kidneys.
Aw.
And my wife goes, I bet that's your donor.
Oh.
She was right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, you're probably right. And she goes, she's here. I'm like, huh? She goes, he just came in and said the kidney that they're working on has 2 arteries. So I was like, oh, you got a point, So knowing that my wife donated, I know where the floor was because she stayed there. It's all the transplant floor is the 11th floor. So I'm up there recovering, and I knew what you look like.
Yeah.
And I see her walking down the hallway, and
Creeping
she
around.
Yeah.
creeping around, looking in windows. I'm like, and my wife's sitting in there, and she goes, "That's your donor." And I was like, "What?"
That is
I'm like,
crazy.
"You're right."
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So she came walking by again. She looked in. We waved.
I was like, are they waving at me? I'm like, are they just...
Oh, they see me creeping, and they're just like, "Let's be nice to the crazy."
exactly. Okay.
No, but
We, asked her to come in, and my wife goes, "Are you Victoria?" And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "I think he has your kidney."
Yeah.
It's like, you're right.
wow.
I do. So yeah,
So
it was
cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
What did the staff think about you guys like figuring it out on your own? Was there a lot of talk
They
about it?
I don't think they were crazy about it.
Yeah,
They really tried to
That's
keep
their
it
job
separate,
is to
right,
keep it
yeah.
anonymous.
And there
Yeah.
was like someone that was coming in to take my vitals, and I remember this poor girl. I was like, I heard my recipient's on this floor. Do you know where he's at? She's like, oh yeah, I heard that too. And I was like, really? And then she came back a little bit later. She's like, I was confused. I thought you were someone else. Somebody must be like, hey, you can't.
You can't say that.
They're trying to figure this out. Don't go. But yeah, I was asking everybody, and then my nurse coordinator was finally like, okay, we see you like looking in every window. They would like you to come down. I was like, oh my God.
She stopped into my room and she said, I can't tell you where she is. I said, well, I know she's on the floor. And she said, listen, if you guys meet in the hallway, there's no law against it.
Yeah.
And I said, kind of from the hashtag, I'm pretty
Yeah.
much narrowed
Yeah.
down.
And
so-
she said, she's like, the people that you might think it is, I'm like, the people waving? She's like, maybe, she wanted to
Yep.
so much. And she just
Yeah.
like, it's such a cool story. There was like, such specific parameters, and your kidney was just absolutely perfect for your recipient.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
So then, obviously, I was so grateful that it didn't work out to go. And EJ did end up getting his kidney.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's
So, yeah.
fantastic.
to top it
So-
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like the odds of somebody deciding to do it, even though they didn't have a family member that was
Right.
like
Yeah.
on the list
Yeah.
waiting,
Yep.
is
Yeah.
just like, it's so really miraculous. Like,
Well, and
I
then-
mean, I wonder what how many other people would have done that? Like,
Yeah.
it's not something people would pick.
It's just so funny to me because people are like, oh wow, and I'm like, it just wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
just fell into place, and
But I think
and,
because you had that calling
yeah,
to do it.
yeah, there
so
was
it
never
just-
any fear about any of it.
Did anyone on the teams ever say anything like, wow, like maybe 0.5% of our donors don't have a tie to somebody?
It's a fairly low percentage. I don't remember specifically what it is. And then I was also surprised to learn about the data of the people that initially fill out the information to like inquire about it to actually making it to a donation is very, very small for various things. Like things come up or you're ruled out or, you know, it gets closer and then, you know, they just get a little bit nervous about it for like
Yeah.
long term.
Yeah.
Because the checks that they put the donor through
It's
are
so
really,
thorough.
they more or less look for a reason for you not to donate.
They
Yeah.
do.
Right.
Because
I
it
guess they have to
eliminates
look at
all
it that
risk.
way.
Right.
So, you know, they really want to try to find a reason for you
Yeah.
not to donate. So your pool of living donors are pretty small to begin with.
Yeah.
And then that added factor, and, you know, there's a lot of different things that come up. You know, they're doing scans and stuff like that. And, you know, I was in a situation where that's kind of how it all started was I was born with a reflux issue of my left kidney. Well, here my left kidney never really fully developed.
Oh wow.
So I kind of ran most of my life off of one. And then that one was actually slightly underdeveloped also. It was smaller than what it really should have been. And then it just kind of over time started to degrade. And, you know, it was kind of a bizarre thing, you know, and they just said it was like cumulative degradation is what they called it. And the nephrologist is like, it's just from, you know, it's kind of from birth, you know, and then over time it just happens, you know. And then even when my wife filled it out, you know, they tested her for everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. She actually had West Nile before.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, she had West Nile disease.
Wow.
Actually, she had West Nile meningitis.
Oh my
actually
gosh.
up into her spine. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was kind of crazy, and that became a concern, you know. So then she
Sure.
had to see an infectious disease doctor to see if there was any kind of complication with that, you know, even though it was like so many years prior.
Yeah.
And they said no over the time that everything's clear. And then I didn't want her to donate.
Oh.
Crazy as that sounds, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at me and I'm like, I'm out of it. You know what I mean? So if something happens to me and she donates and something happens to her,
Yeah.
that leaves 2 kids with nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sure,
a
I get
valid
it.
concern.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan at first.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
You
so
don't get to
it was,
say.
you know.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And I
your
think
choice,
that
but
speaks to how much she cares about you.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a bond. Well, marriage is a lifelong thing
Mm-hmm.
to me to begin with. So that just adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a connection that most people don't have.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
Even the connection between Victoria and myself, most people, they don't have it. You
Yeah.
know, it's
yeah.
literally a part of you is inside of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's connection that you can't really even put into words.
I know.
It's just something inside that's, you know, there, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
you, like I said, you can't describe it. It's just, you know, it makes for a different bond that most
Yeah,
people won't ever
absolutely.
have. So,
Yeah.
and that's the same with my wife. You know, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I was.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and as crazy as it was, I did my pre-op testing before surgery. If I didn't get transplanted, when I got transplanted, I would be on dialysis.
Oh,
My
man.
function went down to 10%.
Wow.
So, yep, it was now or never.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
so the timing was perfect. Like February 7th, that was the perfect date because I was at the bottom, as low as I can go, you know, and then they didn't put me on dialysis because they knew it was coming, and it was So if something crazy would have happened, such as like I would have gotten sick or you would have gotten sick, they would have had to start me on dialysis
I
until.
was so paranoid of getting sick.
Yeah. I'm
My
sure.
2 boys got COVID in January, and I was spiraling. I think I can't get sick,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God's timing.
I became a
Yes,
shut-in for like 2
absolutely.
weeks prior.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, stop work. You know, I started working part-time, driving. I talked the doctor into that. I'm like, all right, if I take a
Something.
part-time driving job,
Yeah.
delivering parts,
Yeah.
you know. He goes, I guess, as long as you're off your feet. I said,
Yeah.
okay. And then, like, the week of, the one thing when you have kidney disease that a lot of people don't realize is, A, you don't realize how bad you actually feel until after you get transplanted, to be honest with you. 2, you have zero energy, like zero. Your body is just full of toxins.
Yeah.
And it just wipes you clean of everything. So everything you do is a push. You know what I mean? So going to work was a push every day, you know, but it was, I couldn't just sit there like that. That got old really quick.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
mental
Like, I got to do
struggle,
something.
too.
Yeah.
You know, so you feel so weak all the time. Like you come home and all you want to do is sleep. And the week of, because my function was so bad, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to sit there, you know,
Yeah.
like I didn't want to do anything. And then I got transplanted, and I'm like, I think it was 3 days after I was transplanted. I'm like, so how long does it take before I can go back to work? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
You
that's-
felt better that
Oh,
quickly.
you have no
Yeah.
idea. First thing I
The
said is,
sleepiness was transferred to me.
it does. It really
I
does.
was like, I slept
Yeah.
like 15 hours a day for the
Yeah.
first 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Well, you got to remember, it's a person that has 2.
Yeah,
now all of
going
a
down
sudden they're
to
down to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the reverse option.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Where you felt great, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden you take this big dip
Right.
until
Yeah.
you come back.
So
you
then
know?
back to
So-
homeostasis.
Yeah.
Until you get back to homeostasis,
Yeah.
like, and your body
So
gets used to that.
for a recipient, it's
Yeah.
like, man, holy Moses, let's
Yeah.
go.
Even
You
the
know, like-
recovery, like the
Oh,
recovery
yeah.
from the surgery, it
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
oh, this is nothing compared to what I've been through.
No.
So,
And you don't
wow.
get, there's no laying. They get you up and moving.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You're up right away. You're out walking.
Yeah.
So it's, you, first thing I said is, wow, I didn't realize how bad I actually felt.
Wow.
You know, until all of a sudden you feel good. And it was probably about 3 days after, 4 days after, I'm like, I actually feel really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, no, it was a wild ride.
Yeah.
It was one worth taking though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I would say to anybody out there, it's, you know, don't be afraid. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are in that situation and never get a chance. You know what I mean? They don't have anybody willing to give.
Yeah.
The pool's kind of small and the list is very large.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, if you have family members, if they're in good health, yeah, let them, you know, put an application in.
Yeah.
It won't hurt. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
if you're not meant to be, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
But
So, when you're on the list, you may or may not be told about the voucher program. It sounds like it kind of like
They've
came
done a
up in
better job.
conversation.
I
It's
think
improved.
the past few
Okay.
years,
Okay.
educating
Yeah.
almost every candidate because
Yes.
it's just a better way to get the most suitable kidney for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
regardless.
And I feel like it was
Yeah.
on Grey's Anatomy, so it's like a thing,
Oh,
right? They did
okay,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've been doing a lot more pushing because the technology has advanced
Okay.
too,
Yeah.
to where like the way that they're able to match in this system, it's phenomenal.
so it originally started out as what they called the paired exchange, and it was almost like a tree, almost like a family tree. And then it all trickled. But what happened was, if one part of that got broken, you had to go
Yeah, like
and
one
start
piece of the
all over.
chain.
If
Oh,
one piece of that
wow.
chain
Yeah.
breaks, you had to go and start all over. So then I think it was kind of more or less like, how do we go about this, you know, to where that doesn't happen. So then, you know, the National Kidney Registry got involved, and then all your donated kidneys go into a database. They kind of control the database, and now your hospitals are actually able to go and search that database for donors.
Oh, wow.
It's
So
very,
it's-
very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty neat how it happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's,
And I'll say, like, my recovery overall, I went into it expecting the absolute worst because they really do, like I said, a great job of educating you on what recovery is going to look like. I was just really tired for
Yeah.
a while, and, like, was challenging for me because I'm used to, like, being on the go all the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
you know, with the kids and work and just life. So that was a little bit hard, but, you know, there's weight restrictions and things like that for a few weeks,
Yeah.
but it flew. I mean, obviously everyone's recovery is going to be a little bit different, but mine was overall really, really good.
Good.
Is it like incision? Is it?
Yeah. There's like almost like a C-section, like the size of your fist. That's
Okay.
where they pull the kidney out, but it's done laparoscopically very often. It's actually done by a robot. The doctor's
Yeah.
on the other side of the room.
Pen medicine and their robots.
Yeah.
I
They
know.
love
They
them.
showed me
Yeah.
a picture of the robot. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
a spider, like a
very
Yep.
cool.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very
And
cool.
there was just a few incisions in my abdomen. So,
Wow.
obviously tender like any other abdominal surgery,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, lots of resting.
And now you feel
I feel
Fine.
great. I
Yeah.
feel amazing. I will say it was definitely when I was going through it, I was like, okay, I need to take this lifelong commitment. Like, I have to be healthy. I have to go to the doctors annually. I have to, you know. And the one thing I was under the assumption was that people that were living donors were like uber healthy, like fitness, just so healthy. Like, I eat pizza and hot dogs. And they're great. I mean, I try to be conscious about what I'm eating,
Yeah.
obviously, and like move my body and exercise consistently. But I love food.
yeah.
Love to take naps.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's like life-altering change. What are some other things that like they warned you to look out for, or was there anything that they were like, okay,
Yeah.
this, like here's the things that will really truly change in your life?
Yep. So I'd say like the one consistent thing is I really shouldn't take like ibuprofen and NSAIDs anymore. And they were good with following me. I went to Penn like a few weeks later, and then for a few follow-up visits all the way up until my 2-year mark. And then I was just turned over to my primary care doctor to watch my
Okay.
kidney values. So, obviously, like Mike said, everything's hand in hand. So blood pressure, obesity, all of those things can take a toll on your kidney. So you just want to make sure you're just having a healthy lifestyle and just staying on top of like any medical things. Like I always tell the doctor if I have to like get an antibiotic or that I have one kidney, but that's really it.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
It is
it
crazy.
is.
Yeah.
It really
It
is.
is.
But yeah, I feel no different.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is so cool.
Mhm.
And I wish more people could hear about it. Like if
Yeah.
I would have heard
Right.
about it sooner, I would have done it sooner. I mean, obviously like timing's everything, but
Mm-hmm.
I just wish more people realized that maybe you could be a living donor.
Yeah.
You know? You could literally save someone's life, and it's just it's so important, and I think it's not talked about enough. So that's why thank
I
you so much for
agree.
inviting us.
Oh,
of course.
absolutely.
This
I'm
is
so
great.
happy to have you.
I know.
How's
really cool.
how's the like donor community, like donor and recipient community out there?
There's a lot of advocacy work done. I volunteered with the NKDO for a while. They had a mentor program, so if there were people considering donating, they would like check a box and they're filling out the information through Penn, and then I would reach out to them to just kind of talk about my experience.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they're just nervous, and so like just hearing, hey, I went through it, I'm okay, it went
Yeah.
really smoothly, this is what I didn't expect. And actually when I was going through it, I had a kidney mentor through the same organization, and she was wonderful. And I would just text her, I'm like, hey, what about this, and what did you pack in your hospital bag?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what didn't you expect? And it was really helpful for me. So the program is a little bit different now, but I just think it's such a cool community that I knew nothing about before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the donor dash.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, EJ and his mom are going to be walking with us this year, so I'm
Oh,
so
that's
excited.
cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
and Mike and Joan, his wife, and his girls come, and
Yeah.
Yep.
my family,
Yeah.
some work family. So.
On the recipient end, it's I mentor with Penn
Okay.
for
Great.
recipients.
Oh, how cool!
It's because there's a lot of questions they have.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
everything, it's different for every individual. But
Yeah.
when you kind of give somebody an idea as to what to expect, it puts their mind at ease.
Yeah.
They're not going into it uber nervous. It's not crazy. It's biggest thing is listen to your doctors. The one thing that does change from the recipient end is you're on medication for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's your anti-rejection meds. And if you stop and think about it, all the stuff you had to do prior to getting one is much worse than managing pills on a
Yeah.
daily
Right.
basis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I take them twice a day.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do. And that's your biggest commitment afterwards. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
care of yourself. listen to your doctors and just take your medication
Yeah.
and you'll be fine, and
Do you feel like you see life differently now? You live life a little different now?
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It's, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people, it's not a cure.
Yeah.
Right.
It is a treatment,
Mm-hmm.
just like dialysis is. It is a treatment. You have to put some stuff towards it to make it last, But yes, it's almost like a new lease on life.
Yeah.
So you do view things differently. It's, you don't take things for granted as much as
Yeah.
maybe you did before.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely different from that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's, people get worried about it. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
It's actually a great thing for a great reason. So,
Absolutely.
definitely.
So
Yeah, I don't think there's anything better than saving a life.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I just feel so blessed that we were able to like get to know each other,
Yeah.
be a part of each other's lives,
Yeah.
because so many people don't get that for
No.
whatever reason.
Yeah.
So how
No, that's
cool is
true.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And then we
what a
were close
unique-
enough.
Yeah.
A unique bond that you
Yeah.
have.
We
Yeah,
went out to dinner
absolutely.
with our spouses on our 3-year anniversary
Aw.
last month. Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
special.
Oh.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's just, it's, my wife's a donor, you're a donor.
Yeah.
You and your husband have children, we have children.
Yeah.
It's just, things just kind of fit, and it's, it is a unique thing because a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of people don't get that
Yeah.
opportunity.
I
So
know.
Yeah.
it's
So-
one that is very special.
Yes.
So how
Absolutely.
long would it have taken if you guys hadn't played detective so well in the hospital and been in the same hospital? What's the length of time typically for like the letter? And I want to know if you guys actually sent the letters
We
afterwards.
just discovered that we didn't. But I'm actually gonna. I have to have the letter saved on my laptop. We were just talking about this at dinner, and I'm like, "Did you get my letter?" Because I remember writing this letter.
Yeah.
I was just like, "They're gonna think I'm crazy." I was like, "I'm so excited to give you my
Yeah. Yeah.
and I have to find it and give it to Mike. But no, he never ended up getting it. I think it's a few weeks. It's like a good amount of time while you're recovered. And then, I was asked to write the letter in advance. I turned it in, and then I think the social worker reaches out. But there's like a lot of disconnect with that. So that's just not their priority, right?
yeah.
Like their
Yeah.
priority is to like save lives, and
Sure.
I understand it, but I think it's a few weeks to a few months. It's typically
Okay.
the timeline that they reach out to ask. And then I think it would have been like he can write a letter back, and then I think another step has to happen, and then we can exchange contact information.
Okay.
So we really
So you
cut
would have
out a
lost
lot of
a
time.
lot of time.
Yeah,
That was my wife wrote a letter to her recipient, never heard
yeah,
Yeah.
anything back.
I know.
Yeah.
So
I did write letters to Eli's recipients.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anything back yet. So was hoping to hear
Yeah, of
something.
course.
But I mean, totally not expected. They don't have to, but I just wanted that connection.
Yeah.
yeah, and so I'm assuming some people kind of, I don't know, maybe feel weird.
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
Like-
sure.
They don't want to feel indebted to somebody.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean?
I get that.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, and like for your living donor, it's a little bit different. Eli passed away, so there might be also maybe feeling of guilt, which they should not have, because really, as the family, it's a gift that they get to live on.
That's why it's called a gift of life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it is a fairly low percentage of people that end up getting to connect, and that we live close enough to like
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
It's an awesome,
Yeah.
awesome thing.
you would have lost so much
Yeah.
time just trying to
Yes.
get connected otherwise. It would have
Yeah.
And that's
A lot
even if
harder.
it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
if you had even
So-
got, because I was wondering if they were like, no point in sending that letter.
Yeah.
They're already
Yeah, I guess
friends.
they
Yeah,
did it. They're
it's
like, oh,
fine,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I have to look. I'll look this week.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing, like my wife's went out to California, and it goes from social worker to social worker. So we don't even know if he ever even received it.
Right.
Right,
You
and
know what I
there's
mean?
turnover, and
Yes,
just
and your social worker they don't handle one case.
Right.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
they have a
Yeah.
heavy caseload.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
do things probably fall through the cracks in that aspect?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there's probably a lot of people that really don't get any kind of response and connection. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
No,
I imagine
know.
someday someone will come up with a great way to do that electronically.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
And like,
Stay
okay,
in
you
the-
put yours in
Automated.
here, and then if
Yeah.
they click yes, it'll come into their
Right.
email
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Somebody
that
will
would
come
be
up with
so
$1 million
nice.
idea to do
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
that'd
may
be
have
awesome.
just given someone an idea.
Yeah.
Pending. Someone who's going to computer science college, maybe. Maybe she can
yes.
come back and do that.
Absolutely.
We'll give her an idea.
Yes.
Um, my stepdad's cousin, she had donated to her daughter years ago when her daughter, Kristen, was 16, and Kristen and I are the same age. And so then, a little bit ago, a few years ago, Kristen needed another kidney, and she started looking, and we were kind of doing some things on social media, and then unfortunately she took a turn and passed as a
I'm
result.
so sorry.
And it's just so sad,
It
so
is
many
sad.
people die waiting, and she
It
was
is
my
sad.
age, and
Yeah.
it's just heartbreaking. But
My cousin donated to her husband a kidney. His family was not a match. No one was a match. She was a perfect match for him.
Wow.
Like, what are the
What are the
chances?
odds?
Yeah.
That's,
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Talk
Do
about
they talk
Yeah.
about that? Like, what the chances are of finding like the perfect? Like, is there
It's
any?
really rare.
No, I mean, I'm sure they have numbers out there.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't discuss. I didn't discuss it with.
Yeah.
I think as far as like finding in your community the perfect match, I think with the technology of like the databases they have, they can. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I
think
see the
it's-
trucks around with like the posters on the back of, can you donate a kidney?
Yeah.
Like, get tested, check.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
this person needs one or that person needs one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the way back forever, decades ago, probably now. Like you did the swab for bone marrow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you
Yeah.
got on the bone marrow registry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they called me like 10 years later and they're like, we're checking if you still want to be on the registry. And I'm like, are you calling because I'm a match?
Is
Yeah.
it
And they
time?
were like, we just need to be sure we have your address and phone number, and then you'd be willing. And, you filled this out so long ago. And I'm like, yes, whatever.
Yeah.
whatever. And I
Yeah.
never heard from them again.
Aw.
But I was like, so close.
I've
Yeah.
done the swab too. I did that
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
ago. I remember that.
Yeah.
I know I've aged out by now.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's silly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whatever, it's like 40 or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I could still do it.
Yeah.
Should call them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big, yeah. What other questions haven't I asked? 'Cause I feel like
I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't ask or that we haven't talked about? Or I guess Donor Dash is coming up, so we
Yeah.
could both talk about that.
Yes,
You
I'm
have a
very
team.
excited.
What's your team name?
Victoria's Bean Team.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
And you guys have been doing it for how many years?
I did it my first year, so this will be our third year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and Erica was with us last year. We did. We had a team for Eli last year,
Awesome.
and Erica came.
Oh, yep.
It's such a beautiful space. It's and
Yeah,
just
I
the
love it
day
there.
overall is
I know, it's
beautiful.
so special.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I'd never been down to the shipyard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
been down there.
Me
And so I was
neither.
like,
Gorgeous.
I'm coming to you and you're driving.
Yeah.
we made
Yeah.
it. We did
Yeah.
it. It was-
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
That is right down there.
Yeah.
I know,
We're going
it's
to have a
such
much
a fun
bigger
day.
team this year. It'll be
Yeah.
really great.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. We'll have
We're
to link up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Definitely.
It is like
Yeah.
impossible to find people.
It
It is.
But we'll find each other.
It was, yes.
I was shocked at how much. It was
know.
like we were kind of at the end of the walk line, and it was like we were leaving, and I'm like, people are coming back.
Yeah.
Like, this is
You're
how
not
big
Yeah.
of a loop this is.
Yes.
But how amazing.
Yeah,
right?
no.
It is.
I mean, it shows how much it affects
Yes.
so many people in the
people.
community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys spoke about organ donation, and I also just want to touch on tissue donation because a lot of people don't realize how important tissue donation is. Eli was able to give sight to 2 people. He also donated skin, bone, valves, veins, ligaments,
Wow.
tendons. Everything that he could have donated was donated. So
That's amazing.
he, his donations were spread out over 8 states. Actually, no, 10, because his cornea was New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and then there are 8 other states that received his tissue. So a lot of people don't, they just think organ donation
Yes.
specifically. And there are time constraints for organ donation after death, where tissue donation, you have 24 hours. So there's a little bit more time, that you're able to donate. So
Wow.
it's all still very important,
Absolutely.
tissue and organ.
And the skin's actually the largest.
Yeah.
So, and that can help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what I read for tissue donation, you can potentially help up to 75 people with your tissue donation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So
That's a
it's,
lot.
Absolutely amazing.
yeah. So all very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Amy, I hope you hear back from.
I hope
Your
I do
letters.
too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Next Saturday, we're doing, on the 14th,
Yep.
they're having, it's called Heroes. Oh, I forget what it's called. But it's for cornea recipients and donor families.
nice.
Yeah.
They're having a little, I guess, luncheon. Maybe I'll bump into somebody there. But the girl that coordinates is going to be there. She's actually going to come on the podcast next
cool.
month
That's great.
to share her story. She's also a cornea recipient.
Oh
So it's very near and dear to her. But I'll be able to meet her there at that. So I'm excited
That's
to
really
go to that
exciting.
too.
Yeah. Go will represent the pod, and
Yes.
it'll probably be right about the time
Yeah.
this episode's
Yeah.
dropping.
Mhm.
So it'll be great.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Timing's everything.
Yeah.
For sure.
And for any of our listeners that are not already registered to donate, please register to donate.
Absolutely.
And also, if you're interested in joining us for the Donor Dash, Victoria's Bean Team.
Yes, Victoria's Bean Team.
Yes. And because of Eli, also has a team as well. If you're not able, it's a walk and a run. If you're a runner, there's a 10K and a 5K, but there's also a walk at 11.
Yeah, we'll be walking it.
Yes, yes. So
We'll be
you can
running,
do
then
both.
walking.
Yes, so you can do
Okay.
both, or just do the walk. Either of the teams. If you don't want to physically be there, you can always donate to either team. That would be fantastic.
yeah, we can.
Consider being a living
Yes,
Yes.
donor.
absolutely.
It's like
After
one of
hearing
life's
this story,
greatest
Yeah.
it's
blessings.
like
I know. I'm like,
really
I could do better.
inspiring.
Just raising awareness
Yeah.
about it is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know. Like if my friend would have never shared the Facebook post
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
EJ, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Right?
If a nurse practitioner didn't mention it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would have
it
never.
never would have happened.
never
Yeah.
known.
Wow.
Yeah. So many pieces to fall into place of like this grand plan.
It
Yeah.
was meant to be.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
And just even you don't even know how adding one person into that like voucher treat, like the
Yeah.
into the loop, how many more people got saved because of it
Exactly.
and got a kidney just
Yeah.
because of one person.
And then
Right.
it took him off the list to
Yeah.
bump,
Yeah.
Yeah.
other people get
Then it
moved
moves
up.
somebody else up.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's
I know. Such a big
it goes
web.
a long way.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
really does.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Is that going to be our resource? Was the donor dash?
Yes.
Excellent. We didn't prepare
Unless you have
unless you
anything else.
have
No,
something.
that's wonderful.
Okay. I didn't know, maybe support groups or anything that either of you.
The
attended?
NKDO
Okay.
is a great resource too, the National Kidney Donor Organization. But I mean, Gift of Life, you know,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Excellent. I was going to say I lost my script for our closing. Sorry, folks. Everyone so much looks forward to closings all the time.
And I'm so grateful for both of you being here, for what you've done, and being willing to share your story.
Yeah, no, this was really cool.
I
Yeah.
so enjoyed
Yeah.
hearing your story. It was
Yes.
really inspiring and just such a great heartwarming
Yeah,
thing
Glad I
to
was
be a part of.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had the opportunity.
Yeah.
So
For
Well,
sure.
Yeah.
Thank,
Thank
you.
you.
Absolutely. All right. And in closing, we hope we've helped a few of you feel more validated, more heard and seen. If you're supporting somebody who is in grief or even waiting for an organ, please
Yes.
share so that they can hear and feel a little more normalized in the conversation. And as always, we are here because of Eli.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.